Superman. You cannot marry a woman without gills. You're from two different worlds. Oh, I've wasted my life.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and it's time to talk about the July 2021 DC Comics solicitations. Obviously, yesterday I talked about the Marvel solicitations, and DC Comics is up next. We've got a lot of new series. Something you're definitely going to notice are a lot of DC titles are going like bi-monthly. We're getting twice a month, kind of like what they were doing when DC Rebirth kicked off. A lot of those titles came out twice a month. A lot of these titles are coming out twice a month. DC is definitely not as exciting, at least to me, as it was even like 12 months ago. Certainly nothing like it was, 24 months ago. It feels like it's, I don't know if it's even slowly, but it's over time. It's going downhill as far as the enthusiasm, the quality of the stories that we're getting, in my opinion. A lot of stuff heading towards future state. Talk about the stuff that's the most exciting. See if maybe there's a couple of covers worth talking about, and maybe I'll be sarcastic and very dry about a few comic book titles that I'm not excited about, or maybe some prices. So without further ado, let's get right into it and look at the DC Comics solicitations for July 2021. First up is Superman, Son of Kal-El #1. This is replacing the classic Superman title that we've had for quite some time. That was rebooted not that long ago with Brian Michael Bendis took over the character, but this is a new day. Clark Kent is no longer Superman, at least on Earth. He's going to be heading off to World. We'll talk about here in a second. Here on this homage cover, a lot of the information has been removed. It's supposed to say all new, like 22-page spectacular. And it also had a $5 cover price when we've seen the cover. Here it's saying that it's $4, and it also has more pages. A lot of times these solicitations have bad information on them. I'm assuming that it's $4.99 with the backup story, which they did not include on the cover, and it's Tales of Metropolis. I don't know. It feels like DC Comics is all kinds of confused on what they're putting out. We're seeing them change, almost stealth change some of the prices. Joker #1 ended up being $6. Initially, I think Batman was supposed to be a $5 comic coming up in June. They retroactively changed that after I confirmed with a couple of sources that, yes, that was supposed to be the price. So I don't know. Feels like DC doesn't know what they're doing right now. But John Kent is the new Superman. He's taking over for his father, who's taking off in new adventures. This is going to be Tom Taylor and John Timms. The art should be good. We'll see what Tom Taylor does. He's certainly written John Kent as Superman very well in Deceased. Next up, we have Superman the Authority #1. I mentioned Clark Kent is going off on a new mission. He's joining up with the Authority. Well, kind of the Authority. He's joining up with Manchester Black. Who else is in it? I think Midnighter Apollo and some other throw-in characters. This is going to be written by Grant Morrison, who, interestingly enough, wrote 2 issues of The Authority, then exited the title, I think, without telling anybody, really. A lot of people were upset with that. We got Michael Yannon on art, $5, 40 pages, as what you would expect. I think it's an odd pairing. I don't think Superman and The Authority really mix, but we shall see. If someone's going to make it work, it will probably be Grant Morrison. And Action Comics 1033, Philip Kennedy Johnson is still the Action Comics writer. He's no longer going to be writing Superman because that title doesn't exist. Another $5 comic, 40 pages, with a backup story of Midnighter meeting up with Shiloh Norman III, Mr. Miracle. And this is all about Warworld. They're going to Warworld to free prisoners. Apparently some refugees end up on Earth. They take some of their Warworld technology down to Atlantis, and they're going to start a war or something like that. So it's all about, if you like Superman Future State, with Superman of Metropolis and Superman Worlds of War, and what was going on there, Superman's at Warworld, John Kent is Superman here, you're going to like this, because this is essentially leading up to all that. Next up, we've got Static Season 1. This is the relaunch of Milestone Comics within DC. And this is going to be written by V.I. Chris Cross, who obviously was a big one of the big artists on Milestone originally. He's going to be doing the layouts. Nicholas Draper Ivey is going to be doing the finishing. I think they found the wrong writer for this. I think it'll probably be like most V.I. full comic stories. It'll be all over the place, incoherent, and not well executed. But it is $4, apparently. Maybe. We shall see. It's all subject to change with DC Comics. Next up, Static Season 1, #2. I believe these are coming out digital first. Icon and Rocket Season 1. This was the title I was the most excited about. on Milestone. This is a really good cover right here. But until Reggie Hudlin is the writer, I think he's going to do a bad job. He's the guy that did the Milestone like Reborn #0 free comic they put out. I thought it was awful, especially specifically the characterization of Icon himself. I couldn't imagine anyone getting the character more wrong than Reggie Hudlin got it in there, and I imagine he'll continue getting the character wrong here. But if you are excited for Milestone, I hope it works out, and I wish that DC had a thriving, exciting Milestone imprint working, that people were enjoying. We shall see. That is to be determined. DC Horror Presents. So we have a new imprint at DC Comics, DC Horror Presents, and this is going to be a prequel to the new Conjuring movie. This is The Conjuring, The Lover #1. And interesting enough, they have an artist that I need to talk about here in a second, but this is the tie-in to The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. That's a new Conjuring movie that's coming out, written by David L. Johnson, McGoldrick, and Rex Ogle. I think they have something to do with the movie itself. I'm actually quite certain of it. Yeah, they're the screenwriters for the movie. So we're getting the screenwriters, and then the artist is Gary Brown. Now, I've reviewed the first issue of X-Force that he did, where he was the illustrator. And then this week, I saw the preview of the art for X-Force, the second issue he did, and I wouldn't buy it because the art was so atrocious. Now, he is trying to ape the style of Joshua Cassare that's been in X-Force for a while. So perhaps he is a better artist than what he's shown there, but just that name alone makes me not want to buy this because the art in X-Force was so atrocious. You do get a backup story by Scott Snyder and Dennis Cowan, and you're getting 2 issues. I mentioned you're getting a lot of 2 issues of a lot of stories at DC Comics in this month. Looks like that's the way they're going forward. Obviously, they've got an homage cover for The Conjuring, the Lover #2. Same writing team, David L. Johnson, McGoldrick, Rex Ogle, Gary Brown. His art has been so terrible. But we got Che Grayson and Juan Ferreira on the backup story. Juan Ferreira is a great artist, and I wish he was probably illustrating this. Probably going to skip this just because of the name Gary Brown. Also, if they did a prequel to The Conjuring when it first came out, that would have been exciting. But The Conjuring's kind of watered down at this point. It feels like they're running out of stories. Suicide Squad, get Joker #1. This is something I am excited for. Brian Azzarello is a bit hit or miss for me, but I think him on this DC Black Label, 48 pages, $7. We're getting the Prestige Plus format. I think Alex Maleev has been criminally underused by DC Comics since Brian Michael Bendis came over with him. Yeah, he had to illustrate the Event Leviathan stuff, and it was awful. I think he's perfectly suited to a story like this, Suicide Squad, get Joker with Brian Azzarello. And in this one, we are getting Suicide Squad series pitting Red Hood, Harley Quinn, Firefly, and more of DC's most villainous criminals against the Joker. When Task Force X's Amanda Waller sets her sights on Batman's greatest foe, she enlists the Dark Knight's former partner, Jason Todd, to track down the Clown Prince of Crime and put an end to his mad reign of terror. So I do like Jason Todd a lot. I think it's an odd thing that he's working with the Suicide Squad. I imagine Amanda Waller has got some type of leverage on him to make him do that. And that is that. Batman Catwoman Special #1. Oh my goodness, Tom King. It is Tom King. John Paul Leon. $6, 48 pages. Some great romances are destined to be. The Batcat series show readers the romance between Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle as it changed over their lives. I've already seen that comic. It was called Batman Annual. Was it #1 or #2? I believe it's #1. So he's already actually made this comic, and it was fantastic. No reason to buy that one. Batman Secret Files, Huntress #1, Mariko Tamaki. $5, 40 pages. This feels like a skipperoonie to me. Batman Secret Files, The Signal #1. Feels like a skipperoonie to me. Blue and Gold. So if you like the teamwork between Blue Beetle and Booster Gold, this is probably going to be the series for you. I guess Dan Jurgens has been pitching this story for like 20 or 30 years, and he's been turned down, rebuffed multiple times, and finally he's going to get it right. Blue and Gold. Ooh, $4. Wow. And it's issue #1 of 8. Desperate to regain the spotlight, Booster Gold looks to attract the public's And Justice League's attention the same way any washed-up second-rate hero would, social media. The not-so-tech-savvy hero from the 21st century enlists the help of his best friend Blue Beetle, who possesses the money and the brains to help his old pal navigate the scary world of internet influencers. Watch out, evildoers. Our heroes are live and online. I'm going to be honest. As much as I do like Dan Jurgens, and I think him doing a blue and gold series is cool, that is an awful solicitation. It's an awful pitch for the story. I'm going to pass on that one, even though I wish I was buying it. I wish I could be interested, but I just can't be. Justice League Infinity #1. This is a continuation of the animated series Justice League Unlimited. I hate this cover from, what's his name? Scott Hepburn. Looks way too much like Riley Rossmo, but it is more competent than normal Riley Rossmo. I'll give him that. This isn't the most inspiring cover either, in my opinion. But this is J.M. DeMatteis, James Tucker, returning to the Justice League Unlimited. If you like that animated series, I think this is a comic book for you. It's going to be a 7-parter, lots of miniseries coming up from DC Comics, and it's only $4, so they must love you. Shazam #1. This has got Jamie Anderson written all over. Let's see. We got one cover. That one's better, I guess. Oh, yeah, that one's better. Huh. That's pretty cool. Looks like it's out of a novel. And I don't think that this is going to attract people to like go buy the comic book just based on the cover. But I think if you are a Shazam fan, this might be the cover that you like, just as far as collectors go. Tim Sheridan and Clayton Henry. I think Clayton Henry will do fine on art, but I think Tim Sheridan is a hack job and terrible for DC Comics. I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. All right, American Vampire 1976. This is something I wish I could get into. I think if I had read the original series, I probably would have been into it. Raphael Albuquerque is a good artist. Scott Snyder. This is obviously a little bit smaller scale thing that he's been doing lately, and I think it's more in his wheelhouse. Batman 110. Ooh, he's fighting off with the Peacemaker 1. Yes. James Tynion, Jorge Jimenez. Obviously, Jorge Jimenez has been knocking it out of the park. If you like the Magistrate and the stuff that was in Batman Future State, this is the comic book for you. I did not. So I have bowed out gracefully from Batman and Detective Comics. Batman Superman 20. That is a terrible cover. No one's ever going to buy this comic book because of that cover. Just as far as people off the street. I mean, it's good art, but that is not exciting. It does not tell you to buy that comic, in my opinion. Batman Reptilian #2. This is something I'm all in on. We got multiple covers on this one. Nope. Nah. This is the one you got to buy, I guess. This isn't the worst cover of all time. It's actually pretty good. Definitely eerie. Garth Ennis, Liam Sharp. I wish he was drawing it instead of painting it, but it's still going to kick ass. Batman: The Adventures Continue. Season 2. Nice. Look at that hair. Look at the hair on Nightwing. Whew. Just flows. Alan Burnett, Paul Dini. Issue #2 of 7. Ty Templeton on art. It's going to kick ass. If you would like the animated series, Batman the Animated Series, this is absolutely the comic book for you. And definitely well worth the $3.99 cover. Batman the Detective #4. The art on this from Andy Kubert is absolutely like stunning. We'll see where this story goes. What are they saying about this one? And obviously, this is Tom Taylor. Bruce Wayne is facing charges for attempted murder of former mentor and teacher Henry Ducard and faces a grueling Interpol interrogation, my bad. Nothing is as it appears, however, as the Gotham expatriate charges into the lion's den of mystery and duplicity without the benefit of Batman's tools, will the one-time Dark Knight escape unscathed? There you go. Batman Urban Legends #5. This has the best Batman story going on. It's really more of a Red Hood story, but the story from Chip Zdarsky and Eddie Barrows is fantastic. Anybody else worth reading? Doesn't look like it. Sweeney Boo on interiors. I believe that's going to be the new interior artist for the Punchline story in Joker as well. In Red Hood, meet Cheer, the villain behind the insidious Cheer drops, altering the citizens of Gotham when confronted with a man responsible for taking the lives of so many, including Tyler. What? The kid Jason... They're killing the kid? Why would they spoil that in the fucking Why would they spoil that in this? Oh. Catwoman 33, Ram V, Fernando Blanco. Challenge of the Super. They're killed. Why would they give that one away? I don't know. Challenge of the Super Sons number 4. Obviously, this is a DC Digital first. Peter J. Tomasi, Max Raynor. Checkmate number 2. I still can't believe they're producing this, but I guess they likely paid for it and it was probably completed. It was supposed to be Event Leviathan Checkmate. This is going to be awful. I will probably review it just to confirm my suspicions. I heard Crime Syndicate's actually pretty good. From Andy Schmidt, Kieran McKeon, Brian Hitch. Brian Hitch is he's not just a DC exclusive anymore. He's going to be working over at Marvel as well. But Crime Syndicate, it just isn't all that interesting to me. Looks like we got a new Lex Luthor. It's just not my thing. I don't find that Earth all that interesting. Earth 3 is just, it's like whatever to me. Crushing Lobo number 2. Mariko Tamaki. I don't know. They're probably spreading Mariko Tamaki too thin. She might have gotten lucky with the Batman Dark Detective stuff from Future State. I'm not reading Detective Comics anymore because I hate Future State. I don't like the Magistrate. I don't find any of it interesting. I'll probably give this a try, but Dark Detective might have been a fluke. We'll see. Only $3. Detective Comics. Speaking of the devil. Victor Bogdanovich. It's going to be so hard to say no to that, though. Victor Bogdanovich on a Batman comic. That's like what he should be doing. That's Lee Bermejo. Must be. Detective Comics 1040. It's going to be Dan Mora and Victor Bogdanovich. This is going twice monthly. $5. Woo. Future State Gotham. I think I've made my point about Future State. I ain't reading that no matter who's on it. Green Lantern number 4. I did not absolutely love the first issue. Felt like the Phantom Menace in the DC universe. Lots of intergalactic politics. This cover does not give me good feelings about the direction of this. We shall see. I'm keeping reading it. We'll see if they can turn it around. $5. My goodness. Harley Quinn number 5. Riley Rossmo. Terrible. Stephanie Phillips. You couldn't put Riley Rossmo on an Exo Manowar comic with Robert Venditti writing it, and I wouldn't buy it just because the art's so bad. I just don't like it. Infinite Frontier number 2. Is that an Alex Maleev cover? Mitch Garrett's okay. It's very boring. It looks like they're going to do an interview. That is terribly boring. Mitch was here. I hope that can't be the primary cover. I mean, it is. It says it's the cover. We'll see. I'll be reading this story just because it feels like I'm supposed to for Infinite Frontier. Not something I'm excited about. And we're getting Infinite Frontier number 3 as well. Justice League 64. Looks like we've got, is that a Hawkman or are we talking about the Thanagarians? Introducing the United. This all-new all-star group of alien warriors represents all voices in the newly formed United Planets, a galactic Justice League, if you will. The first legion of superheroes, sort of. United comes to the new Justice League for help because the biggest threat to the universe is on the loose and all roads lead to Superman. I thought Superman was on Warworld. How does that work, DC Comics? All this and Aquaman has some surprising news. I thought Atlantis was under attack from refugees from Warworld. This big, bold, universe-spanning story serves as the perfect hopping on point for curious fans. No, I don't agree with that one at all. Ram V and Sumit Kumar are going to be back together. They did These Savage Shores together. This is a fantastic horror book, and they're going to be doing Justice League Dark in the backup. Are we getting 3 issues of Justice League? No, 2 issues of Justice League. Why does this look like it's tying into Checkmate? It is. Checkmate breaks into the Hall of Justice. Wah, wah. At least there is one Justice League book worth buying. We've got Last Ride number 3, Chip Zdarsky, Miguel Mendoza on art, Apocalypse, once the fiery terror of the multiverse, now a lifeless husk filled with ghosts and dark secrets. I thought he was a mega-apocalypse, like he was all apocalypse and turned into one after Infinite Frontier or something. Whatever. Legends of the Dark Knight number 3. I guess continuity doesn't matter. I'm not going to be reading that one. Mr. Miracle, Source of Freedom number 3. Not going to be reading that one. Although Brandon Easton is a good writer. Nightwing 82. I am sus about Nightwing after the last issue. Let's put it that way. We shall see. One issue does not destroy a run. There have been multiple issues of Daredevil I haven't thought were great, or there have been moments within them I did not like. But the run as a whole is fantastic. So perhaps the last issue of Nightwing was a blip in the road, and it's going to be good. But I'm let's just put it this way. I'm sus. Robin number 4. This is something I'm definitely going to be reading. Joshua Williamson, Jorge Corona. Why isn't Gleb Melnikov still on the art? That's the best thing about the first issue, I'm told. Well, certainly we got Ra's al Ghul here. Damian Wayne versus Ra's al Ghul. For years, Batman's son avoided learning the ways of the demon from Ra's, but now the training may be exactly what Robin needs to win the League of Lazarus tournament. Great, there's another fucking tournament in comic books. Just what we all want. Rorschach number 10, the comic book. I still have no clue what it's about, even though I'm 7 or 8 issues in. If you know what it's about, let me know, please. Ruby Justice League, the comic book that nobody ever asked for. Sensational Wonder Woman, another comic book that is tackling social media in comics. Instapass is what I meant. Strange Adventures number 11. Let's see if Adam Strange's wife can save the day, because he is an incompetent fool and an absolute moron. Suicide Squad number 5. So Dexter Soy is no longer the artist on Green Lantern? Did I miss that? Well, let's go up and see. I apologize. This might get confusing. Tom Rainey, yeah. I guess even DC just borrows everything. All the worst things that Marvel does, that's what DC follows. It's terrible. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Tom King. Yeah, I'm going to read it just because I'm curious. Superman Red and Blue. This has been one of the worst anthology series I've ever read, and you could never get me back. Not even with the Judd Winnick Superman story. Never again. Not even with the Daniel Warren Johnson written and illustrated Superman story, because it's been a train wreck so far. Titans Academy number 5. The first issue was absolutely terrible. I will never read a Tim Sheridan comic book again in my life because I'm not wasting the money. Dreaming Waking Hours number 12. Flash 772. I do not like the Flash stuff they're doing, although there's a cardstock variant by Brett Booth. Are they showing us? Are they? Nope, they're not. The cover is from Brandon Peterson. Joker number 5. There you go. Sweeney Boo is the artist on the Punchline story. And, Guillaume March is no longer the artist on Joker. Like I said, DC just borrows everything bad that Marvel does and just... Ugh. Next, Batman Second Son. This is a digital first comic in the future state world. Not interested. Nice House on the Lake number 2. This thing's going to look great. Alvaro Martinez Bueno is a great artist, and he's worked with James Tynion before. I'll definitely read it because I've liked James Tynion's horror work, but we shall see how this one goes. It has a terrible name. The Nice House on the Lake is one of the worst comic book names I could actually imagine. The other history of the DC universe. John Ridley is one of the worst comic writers in modern comics. I'm shocked that DC Comics think so highly of him. They apparently have not read his scripts because I'm not even going to get into it. He is a terrible comic book writer. He might be a good writer, screenwriter, but he's not a good comic book writer. Swamp Thing number 5. You absolutely should be reading this. Ram V is the next thing, the next big thing. Oh, of course, Mike Perkins isn't on art anymore. My goodness. Truth and Justice. Man, this has been a really terrible thing of solicitations. Everything I'm excited for, they're ruining. Wonder Girl, number 3, Joelle Jones. I'm on the Yara gang. Wonder Woman 775. That looks quite stupid. Woman to Woman 776. Wonder Woman. Ugh. This like black, white, and red, red and blue, black, white, and blood. Like all these stupid, like this trope has been so overused in like 6 months. It's beyond ridiculous. Beyond ridiculous. Looney Tunes. This might be the only thing worth buying from DC Comics right now. I don't know. Oh, definitely going to be reading this one. Batman and Scooby-Doo Mysteries. My son's going to love this one. We're going to definitely enjoy this one together. And that's it. Uninspired, quite boring. Taking every bad thing that Marvel Comics does, switching out artists, nothing consistent. And apparently in Nightwing, no, not Nightwing, in Batman Urban Legends, they're going to murder the kid that Jason Todd was protecting, Tyler. Great.